The Alberta Society of Melanoma is an organization dedicated to helping out patients with skin cancer, not just melanoma. I got involved with the organization through my dermatologist, and being involved with other cancer projects, I found this to be a good fit for me.
Well, my story starts when I was a boy on a dairy farm in Eastern Ontario. We were outside all the time. When we were young kids, we were outside all the time, and then at school, we were out in the playground and whatever, shorts, short sleeves, shirts off. Scan forward a number of years, I get married, we move out to BC. But before we moved out, when I was 30 years old, I discovered a mole on my right calf. My mother, being a nurse, had said to me if I ever see an unusual mole, I should go to the doctor. So I did that in a little small town in the Ottawa Valley. And the doctor, he pricked it with a probe and it bled, and he said, oh, it must be a blood blister. After returning from the doctor's office, I thought everything was okay. So we had two young children, and our oldest, one day when I was on my way to the shower, I walked into the bathroom and he followed me in, and he had a look at my right leg and saw the mole there. And he leaned over and kissed it. And so I thought, I've got to go back to see the doctor. So I did, and I said, I want you to take this mole off. And so he did do that, and I asked him to make sure that you send it for testing, which he did. And there was stage 1 melanoma was what he found.
We believe at the Canadian Skin Cancer Foundation that skin cancer is preventable. We work on a health promotion campaign where we're teaching kids about behaviors to prevent skin cancer, like wearing sunscreen, staying in the shade, all those actions that can prevent a sunburn. You do not need to change the color of your skin. You look great the way you are, is basically the premise of what we're trying to promote.
A few years later, I think it was around 2008, I was away with my wife at a horse show, and one night I woke up and I had a funny feeling in my right groin. So I went in to see Dr. Salopek about what was going on in my right groin, and he said, let's have a look at your lymph nodes. So there was one that was enlarged. So he did a fine needle aspiration of it, and the results were inconclusive. So Dr. Dabbs then did surgery on my right groin and removed a number of lymph nodes, and then went on from there. I recovered from the surgery, but later in the summer, that had been in the fall, in the summer, I was riding my bike to work, and I noticed that there was, again, a lymph node in my right groin that was enlarged, and so I had to have another surgery, this time at the Royal Alex. Dr. Smiley recommended radiation, so I had 4 weeks of radiation in September that year. That was 2010, I believe, at this point. And so I was now with the Cross Cancer Clinic with Dr. Smiley as my oncologist. He asked me if I would be interested in participating in a clinical trial, including a new drug which was called ipilimumab. It's taken me years to be able to say that correctly.
My story is a little different from a lot of other people. In the fall of 2012, I noticed a mole had darkened on my leg, and I went in for my yearly physical. Fortunately, my doctor was knowledgeable about skin cancer conditions, and he thought it was suspicious as well too. So he took a biopsy and sent it in for testing. It came back a week later, and I discovered I had a malignant melanoma. Now, for a lot of people, that may not sound like too bad or too much, but it's a serious condition. In January of 2013, I went to see a dermatologist for a second biopsy. And it was discovered that biopsy I had in the first place with my doctor took care of the cancer that I had. So I'm now cancer-free. But still, the message is there. You need to check yourself regularly in order to discover the cancer at the first opportunity. I still go in for regular checkups every year, and I've been 5 years cancer-free.
In 2011, January of 2011, I started the ipilimumab treatment. I had a met under my arm here in a lymph node. I had one in my neck. I can't remember the number of places that I had them. So everything was lit up, whatever I was in the CT scanner and that. So things were pretty serious, and I was starting to cough. And I remember thinking one time, that January, the end is drawing nigh. And this was after, I think, my second treatment with ipilimumab. But by the third treatment, the cough started to go away. And by the fourth, Dr. Smiley said that in my CT scans, the metastases in my lungs had shrunk by about 70%, which was just incredible. And I couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
Wherever you are on this journey, the Alberta Society of Melanoma is there for you. You are not alone. So whether you are just beginning this journey and have just been told that you have a cancer diagnosis, or you are quite advanced, we can help navigate, we can help guide you, we can help connect you with other organizations that will help.
So I would really encourage anyone who has been diagnosed with melanoma to seek support. And in the Edmonton area in particular, the Alberta Society for Melanoma has patients, melanoma patients, who are going through or have gone through what listeners may be going through right now. And we can share stories. We have the Christmas parties carry on, and hallelujah for that, because it's a great time to just relax and have fun together. We have our coffee meetings where we have representatives from the various research companies that are, and pharmaceutical companies that are developing these new immunotherapy drugs.
So I met Lisa and Al around 1.5 years ago. And what's really important to me is learning about people's stories, how skin cancer affects them. So we're on the prevention side, but when you're on the other side where you're dealing with a diagnosis, or you have melanoma or skin cancer, it's really scary. And so what's been wonderful about this collaboration, when we get an email or a phone call of someone kind of desperate, and we get these phone calls across Canada, but if it's people in Alberta, it's so wonderful to know that there's a group that you can refer them to for kind of that emotional support, plus looking at your patient journey together. And there's so much informal and formal knowledge in this group of what you can do to get the support when you're dealing with a diagnosis.
There's still hope. Come join our group. We'll help you out. We'll do what we can for you. You're not alone.
The Alberta Society of Melanoma was there for me during my first diagnosis. Mary and Tanny, they were my angels on earth. Hearing their stories made me feel like I wasn't alone. And having other people know that we are here for them, I think is so important. It's one of our goals within the society, is knowing that you are not alone, that we will help you through this.
I guess in the end, what I'd like to say is that you're not alone. There's people who have been here before, have gone through harrowing stories, incredibly difficult treatments, and who have come out the other end and are here with us still and can share their stories with you and help you get through it as well.